What if Sonic used the Soul Emeralds to transform instead of the Chaos Emeralds? And what would a Light Gaia form look like, an opposite to his Werehog transformation? Today I'm going to be exploring a whole bunch of the super forms from the Sonic franchise that we never got to see, but totally should have.
By the way, this is a different video. I know I did a Beware video last time. This is a different one.
Got new forms for Sonic as well as a few other characters, so definitely stay tuned. There's a really cool one for Shadow near the end. Oh, and if you have any ideas for super forms I don't mention here, be sure to let me know down in the comments. I might cover them in a future video. Alright, let's do it. Up top, at this point, Sonic is very well attuned to Chaos Energy. He used the Chaos Emeralds countless times to transform into Super Sonic, even intuiting how to use Chaos Control on his very first try while using a fake Emerald. He may not rely on using Chaos Energy as much as Shadow, who teleports around and sends energy blasts flying at every given opportunity, but we know he can if he wanted to. What we aren't sure about
I just think that Shadow, like he said, Shadow is just more attuned with Chaos Energy since he has Chaos Energy inside him, while Sonic isn't as attuned with it as Shadow, but yeah.
He could use Soul Energy, the alternate universe equivalent to the Chaos Emeralds. The Soul Emeralds are the governing power of Blaze the Cat's dimension. Just like Chaos Emeralds, they allow you to turn your thoughts into power and to travel through time and space. Although they never actually call it this, I like to think this is called Soul Control. The Soul Emeralds are what Blaze uses to cross over into Sonic's
Soul Control. I mean, yeah, Chaos Control, Soul Control. It would make sense.
Dimension, and when she harnesses all 7, she transforms into Burning Blaze, a super form with the typical enhanced speed, strength, and vulnerability, but her flame powers are also amplified greatly. She burns hotter than a star and can melt pretty much anything. So what if Sonic tried using the Soul Emeralds? Well, the boring answer is that he would just turn into Super Sonic. We know the Soul Emeralds already basically mimic the Chaos Emeralds in every other way. But I think the important thing to understand here
the only difference is that it comes from Soul Blaze as well, so they basically do the same thing.
Turn thoughts into power. So sure, if Sonic had no idea what the Soul Emeralds were, he'd probably just get a regular super form out of them. But that's not the case. He knows Blaze, they're good friends, and he knows they come from her dimension. I can't imagine him using the Soul Emeralds without thinking of her and her transformation into Burning Blaze, and because of that, his thoughts would affect their power. I think they would transform him into Soul Sonic. In this form, Sonic would
Soul Sonic, I don't think it's supposed to represent fire. I thought for a second the red was supposed to represent fire, but I don't know. But okay, they're cool. The shoe, glove colors change. It kind of reminds me of Red Fire Sonic.
It up with burning heat, different from his normal golden glow. I think the energy of his aura would actually be like explosive sparks, mimicking the ignition of an engine as he burns hotter and hotter. On top of his flight, speed, and strength and vulnerability, Soul Sonic would also have fire and spark-based abilities, igniting a swarm of explosions with a wave of
like a fire or spark spin dash. Like that would be nice. That'd be cool.
Blasting forward to drastically increase his speed in short bursts, and passively melting anything he stands too close to. And when he goes all out...
Now, is this form hotter than Blaze's, or is it like the same equivalent to?
He could collect bursting fire energy in his hands to form a miniature sun-like ball of burning plasma that he can throw and completely atomize anything standing in his way. Of course, if we're giving Sonic a form using the Soul Emeralds,
we gotta get Shadow.
Fair. What would it look like if Blaze the Cat used the Chaos Emeralds? Burning Blaze specifically amplifies her flame powers to an impossibly high degree, no pun intended. She can launch gigantic fireballs and flame Kamehamehas.
Would it turn her, instead of red or fire, would it like turn her into like a gold, like Sonic?
Blast off smaller ones rapidly, and even cloak herself in fire to turn into a giant blazing phoenix. If she received a super form from the Chaos Emeralds, I think her appearance and abilities would be affected just like Soul Sonic.
Like instead of fire abilities, it's like chaos abilities or something?
Influenced by her thoughts and memories of Super Sonic and change accordingly. This is Super Blaze. Now, this doesn't mean that she would lose her inherent fire abilities. Silver doesn't lose his telekinetic powers when he transforms into Super Silver, but I think the way they manifest would definitely change. Because Sonic is all about speed, I think Blaze's perception of him and his personality would alter her flame powers in this state. Instead of using fire offensively, throwing blasts of flames at enemies, I think Super Blaze's fire would become primarily about propulsion.
I like the outfit. It kind of reminds me of like a martial artist outfit. I like the outfit.
She'd be like a rocket, blasting fire out of her feet and from her back to soar around at ludicrous speeds. While Burning Blaze is a long-range fighter that uses fire as a projectile, Super Blaze would become a living missile, rocketing her body through anything standing in her way. By the way, the original designs for Soul Sonic and Super Blaze are by the artist Soul Space on Twitter. They also did the art for a few of the other forms in this video, so definitely check them out. I linked that profile in the description. Up next, Knuckles has had a really rough go of things in the super form department.
Yeah, we only seen that man super form like twice. We know he has a hyper form, which I keep forgetting sometimes, but we only seen that man super form like twice. We know he has one.
I know modern Sonic Team is really only interested in giving super forms to male hedgehogs for some reason, but Knuckles literally had his own transformation in his debut game.
Exactly.
I can understand that giving Tails or Amy a super form can feel a little odd, but Knuckles has always had an affinity for that sort of thing, which makes a lot of sense. He's the guardian of the Master Emerald.
I was just about to say, yeah, he's the guardian of the Master Emerald. He could legit use the Master Emerald to turn off the power of the other Chaos Emeralds, so of course he would be able to use a super form.
Rules over the Chaos Emeralds. He has an innate connection to the Master Gem. He can sense its location and connect to its energies with his mind. He's one of Sonic's OG rivals who loves to fight and has plenty of experience with Chaos energy. So I don't know why we never see Hyper Knuckles anymore. Maybe because he's pink?
No, we don't see Hyper Knuckles again because we're not gonna see Hypersonic again. Like, it wouldn't make sense to see Hyper Knuckles again and we don't see Hypersonic, so.
Well, either way, I think I have a remedy. I think if Knuckles were going to have a super form that he regularly uses, it shouldn't be by channeling the power of the Chaos Emeralds, but the Master Emerald. As its guardian, he has a closer relationship to it than anyone. He should be deeply attuned with its energies and wavelengths, and we know it can grant a super form by itself. We see Mecha Sonic do it for a boss fight in those Genesis games. And obviously, it can transform the Chaos Emeralds into Super Emeralds. So I think there should be a new form entirely unique to the last remaining Echidna, Master Knuckles. In this form, Knuckles would merge with the Master Emerald, granting him the flight, strength, and speed.
I've seen this. I feel like I've seen this. Isn't this just... Nah,
of a super form, but with a twist. I think Master Knuckles should have the specific ability to manipulate other sources of energy, absorbing and redirecting chaos energy, electrical power, even soul energy, in the same way that Knuckles managed to knock Supersonic out of his transformation with a cheap shot in Sonic 3.
She said cheap shot.
Can completely absorb or neutralize the power of other godly beings, sapping all of the energy from Eggman's machines and turning off or boosting the super forms of other characters. Beyond that, he should have a minor form of omniscience. Fusing with the gem should let him see the world in a new way, peer into events happening across the world, get visions of the future, and look into the minds of those around him. But this incredible
seems like you're trying to make it. It seems like you're trying to make him a demigod.
Power has a major drawback.
Let's see.
He's not invincible. We've seen the Master Emerald be shattered multiple times before, and Master Knuckles is the same way. Actually more fragile than his base form. If he takes too much damage, he'll return to normal, and the shards of the Master Emerald will be scattered all across the planet. So it's a...
Oh god, that sounds annoying. So if he takes too many hits, he'll get knocked out of Master form, and the shards will be scattered. Oh, that sounds like a pain.
Calculated risk anytime he chooses to use the form. But that is enough emeralds for right now. Instead, I want to explore a specific influence that we never got to see. Light Gaia. In the events of Sonic Unleashed, Eggman manages to crack the Earth apart by sapping the energy out of Super Sonic and using it to awaken Dark Gaia, the evil god slumbering beneath the world's surface. As a consequence of this, Sonic's body was radiated and mutated by Dark Gaia's energy, transforming him into the Werehog, but also accidentally woke up Chip, an amnesiac Light Gaia. As the Werehog, Sonic loses his trademark speed, instead becoming a beat-em-up brawler with gigantic stretchy hands, sharp claws and teeth, and a fierce animalistic battle.
So loses speed but becomes power. Less speed type, more power type.
Tendency. It's only during the day, when Dark Gaia's influence wanes, that Sonic returns back to his normal self. But what if we saw the opposite scenario? What if Eggman used his machine to pull the energy out of Supersonic and used it to specifically awaken Light Gaia? What if Dark Gaia was the one who woke up weakened and without his memories, and it was Chip's energy that altered Sonic's body? I think then, instead of Sonic the Werehog, we would get Sonic the Sprite Hog.
That I don't know about the name. Oh, why?
Skechers has the perfect.
This is the form
Sonic the Sprite Hog. I don't know about the name. I like the form though. I don't know about the name.
that Sonic would
Oh, and the white cloud around his neck. That kind of look cool.
uncontrollably transform into during the daytime, only returning to his normal body once the sun sets. As a Sprite Hog, his body takes on influences from Chip's light Gaia energy. It grows wings and the ability to fly. Instead of stretchiness like a werehog, this form can teleport short distances between sources of light.
Okay.
Use natural energy to cause plants and animals to grow or assist him, and create illusory copies to trick or distract enemies.
That's
In this
kinda
state,
cool.
he's much more silly and prone to toying with enemies, a reflection of how he grew violent and angry as the werehog. I think the Sprite Hog would ultimately be a temporary thing until the two Gaias return to their slumber beneath the Earth's crust. But while he's around, know that he is going to have a ton of fun. Now, this next one is not a transformation in the traditional sense, but I'm genuinely shocked that we haven't seen anything like it in the series before. Obviously, characters in the Sonic franchise can grow stronger by using the power of magical artifacts like the Chaos Emeralds, Phantom Ruby, even the Warp Topaz, whatever, but one way they've never leveled up their power that they totally should have by now is through fusion. With how much other stuff the Sonic
Fusion. Yes. Thank you. I want to see Shattuck. I want to see Shattuck. I wish they would have fusion. I want to see Shattuck.
series borrows from Dragon Ball Z, I'm surprised we never seen a fusion of Sonic and Shadow, the same way we got with Goku and Vegeta. There have been a ton of fan interpretations of this idea, the most popular being Shattuck, introduced in the fan animation Wrath of Nazo by Chakra X. Here, Sonic and Shadow fused by simultaneously using Chaos Control to warp to the same location, inhabiting the same space to become one being. And this is a seriously cool way to do it. If you wanted to be boring, I'm pretty sure the Chaos Emeralds could just fuse any character together through making a wish on them, sort of like how they were capable of bringing people back from the dead.
Yeah.
But I really like the idea of fusion being an option to get stronger when the characters don't have access to all 7 emeralds. Just 2 is enough to activate the transformation.
Oh.
As for this new fused Hedgehog's abilities, obviously he'd be faster, stronger, and quicker on the draw than either of the 2 just working together. But he'd also be stuck with all of Sonic's cockiness and Shadow's arrogance, a potentially fatal drawback if anyone ever happened to manipulate his massive ego. In most of the fan works for a fusion between Sonic and Shadow, they choose a name that just smushes the 2 fusees' names together, like in Dragon Ball. I've seen Shattuck, Shadnick, Sando, you get it. But
I have not heard the word one Shadnick. I have not heard that one.
Characters, almost all of them are named after a trait of theirs. Sonic means the speed of sound. He's fast. Tails is called that because he has 2 tails. Silver is Silver. So, when 2 Sonic characters fuse, I think they should get a completely new name that reflects the new traits of this fused character. For example, if Sonic and Silver fused, I would call that new character something like Cobalt, because Cobalt is a metallic blue, a little like Sonic, a little like Silver. And when Sonic and Shadow fuse, they should have a name that represents that new fusion. Maybe Eclipse or Twilight, as the perfect overlap of light and dark. Blitz, to emphasize his insane speed and ruthless efficiency. Or Zenith, the pinnacle of something, used to represent their impossibly big ego. If you have any cool names for fusions of characters, let me know down in those comments.
That'd be nice.
Sonic and Knuckles fused, I think I'd call him something like Sucker Punch. I could do this for days. But
that's
speaking
not
of potential
good. No.
forms
Sucker
for
Punch,
Shadow,
hell no.
we have a sort of worst-case scenario transformation, a very dark one. Shadow the Hedgehog is the creation of a lot of different forces. It's the genetic experiment of Dr. Gerald Robotnik, potentially based on ancient echidna prophecies of Super Sonic, infused with the energy of the Chaos Emeralds, using the DNA of the intergalactic alien invasion force, the Black Arms. Led by Black Doom, they wish to use Shadow, the ultimate evolution of their genetic material.
Man, Shadow has Black Doom's cells, chaos energy, and everything.
Conquest across the Earth and other worlds all around the galaxy. But Black Doom failed in his mission. He was defeated and destroyed by Super Shadow when he tried to invade Earth during the events of Shadow 05. And when he managed to escape his
fate, he say Shadow 05? Just call Shadow the Hedgehog.
Creeping into the Time Eater's void space during the events of Shadow Generations, he was defeated by Shadow again. But that second time, he planted a seed to assist in his plans. He unleashed his Black Arm's DNA within Shadow, granting the artificial hedgehog new Doom powers. Genetic mutations that let Shadow shoot, morph, surf, and fly with the powers of the Black Arms. At the end of the day, Shadow was able to accept the past, move on from his brief reunion he had with Gerald and Maria, and take down Black Doom for good. But what if he hadn't? What if Shadow had lost or willingly chose to succumb to Black Doom's influence, transforming him into the Black Arm's pawn he was originally created to be? I call this form Doom Shadow. Completely given into his mutation, his body exists in a perpetual state of black goopiness. Everything that connected him to his past, to his original family, the air shoes Maria designed, the inhibitor rings Gerald built, they're covered up and drowned out by the black alien tendrils. His wings are permanent. He shifts effortlessly between his morph and surf abilities while stretching his limbs to attack anything even remotely nearby. His eyes are replaced by Black Doom's singular piercing one. His entire personality and mind overwritten as his body is treated as a puppet for no purpose other than conquest. As Doom Shadow, he's incredibly powerful, still able to tap into chaos energy.
Oh god, that'd be a threat. That'll be a threat. He has Doom powers and can still tap into chaos energy.
Much blasts from his hands, but now amped up with the full power of Devil Doom in his tiny body. With the Chaos Emerald, Doom Shadow would be practically unstoppable. But that's kind of scary, and I'd like to end things on a high note. So, a much more obvious super form that we never got, even though we absolutely should have, Sonic using the power of all 7 world
But again, if he did, he would have died.
In Sonic and the Secret Rings, Sonic learns about the World Rings, the 7 hearts that together make up all of the stories of Arabian Nights. Prayers, sadness, rage, hatred, joy, pleasure, and wishes. Together, the 7 rings binds together the pages of this storybook universe. Sonic collects the rings in his race across the Arabian Nights, but during his final confrontation with the Racer Jinn, he doesn't use all of them. After the death of his friend and guide Shahara, he only absorbs sadness, rage, and hatred, altering him into Darkspine Sonic. In this form, he becomes tremendously powerful, able to manipulate the elements associated with the 3 rings he absorbed: fire, darkness, and wind. He's strong enough to battle and defeat the terrifying Alf Layla Wat Layla, coating his hands and feet in fire as he bullies the demigod into submission. What we never got to see, though, was a hypothetical 7-ring Sonic. With his emotions in check and the full control of all 7 rings simultaneously, Sonic would be granted the incredible power over all of the Arabian Nights that a Razor Jinn was originally trying to achieve. I call this form One World Sonic. A godly evolution of the imperfect Darkspine form.
One World Sonic. Can I think of a better one? One World Sonic? Or like the One Sonic? Nah, that's not, no. Let's see. I don't know, but
complete control over the very pages that contain the Arabian Nights. Essentially, he would be granted the power.
He has
of
all
the
7
author.
rings on his body, 2 on one hand, 1 on the other, 4 on his quills.
To edit and overwrite anything he sees fit. Physically, he would command all the elements: wind, fire, light, darkness, but metaphysically, he would command all of the narrative elements that make up the world: joy, sadness, rage, wishes. One World Sonic would be the complete and total arbiter of this reality, but only this reality. The World Rings are ultimately a facet of the fictional universe within the Arabian Nights storybook, and even all 7 pale in comparison to the power of one single Chaos Emerald.
Wow.
Because the emeralds are actually real. Stay frosty.
Yep. Okay, guys, if you enjoyed that video, okay, get that on my face. Okay, that was a good video. All those transformations, they look nice. I like that last one. That one was kind of cool. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. We are at 500 subscribers now. Watch time. Just need to get that up. 1K subs. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen together. So with that said, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. And with that, I'll see you next time. Woo.
You know we dancing for the win cause he planned it. Who can stand against you over me, see my banner. Watch it through the city, shake the ground.